We're at 9 o'clock. Good morning. Happy Monday, September 9th. Oh my gosh, I don't know where all the time goes, but it goes, doesn't it? So, jumping into the meeting today, um, I was thinking, well, I made my note this morning that nobody wants to share their their dilemmas with anybody else anymore. So, I'll probably be mixing this up a little bit. But today, I wanted to talk about not destiny, how we create our own destiny. And we've been talking so much about buyer broker agreements and compensation agreements and modification of buyer broker agreements and all this other stuff. I think we got it down now. If you don't have it down now, then go back and rewatch some of the stuff. But as a group, I think we've done a really good job of doing what needs to be done with that part of the real estate business, right? And then we had a very interesting conversation with a woman named Kate Rossi, who is the president of agent development services for Anywhere Networks. And I kind of got a wake up call from that. Wow, we've gotten away from prospecting, and either your job controls you or you control your job. So today I want to talk about scheduling. And I drafted the perfect schedule in my mind, and it's going to blow your mind, and you're going to have a hard time arguing with me. And then I'm going to concede and talk about all the other stuff that has to be done as well. And then, but the ultimate result is going to be that you need to have a schedule because your schedule is your job. So I want to start with, I'm going to start with a story real quick. So there's a book called Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, written by a guy named Stephen Covey. And in that book, he talks about a story about a wise old man talking to a younger person about how much stuff there is to do and how you can't get all your stuff done in one day. Actually, it was a college professor, I'm sorry. And the college professor brought out a big glass vase and put it on the desk. And on that table was a bunch of big rocks, a bunch of gravel, a bunch of sand, and a gallon of water. And the challenge to the class was to get all those materials inside the big vase, right? So, without making the story super long, it doesn't all fit unless it goes in a specific order, right? And the moral of the story is you got to put the big rocks in first. Because if you put the big rocks in the vase first, right? There's a lot of space around it, right? And then you can fill in the pebbles, and the pebbles will fill in the gaps around the big rocks. And then you pour in the sand, and the sand will filter through and fill in the gap between the pebbles and the big rocks. And then finally, you take the water and you pour the water in, and the water will seek its own level and it will find its way down. And at the end, you'll be able to get everything that was important into your vase or your day, if you will. So the perfect schedule that I'm going to write and share with you in just a second is about that. What are the important things that need to be done? And can you get them done first? And then I know, and I actually wrote it out in the thing, it says, but Craig, what about this? And what about that? And what about this? And what about that? And that's all fine. That's life. It has to happen, but it'll happen easier if it has in your schedule. So let's jump in. I'm going to share my screen just so I have my notes up for you. And there'll be this screen, there'll be this document. We'll share. Okay. What are you seeing? Are you seeing my, okay, let's do it this way. I got too many monitors open. Okay, you should be seeing a day in the life of the real estate sales professional. Can I see a hand raise or something? Yes, thank you, Mom. All right, so we told the big rock story. Here's a sample day. Arise at, I don't know what time you need to get up. Depends on what you want to get done in the day. But if you budgeted your time starting backwards and said, well, I'd like to get a 30-minute walk in. I'd like to get some meditation time in. I probably need to take a shower after my walk and other preparations, hair, makeup, whatever you do. A healthy light breakfast, coffee if you enjoy that. I know some of you are just dependent on your coffee in the morning. Check your overnight emails and texts. Review today's calendar items, which means you have some calendar items and you've been living with your calendar. That's important. create your must-do today list, right? Get the kids off to school and lunch duties and all that stuff as applicable in your life, and then drive to the office and be prepared to engage with the morning meeting. So if that took 30 minutes for the walk and 10 minutes for this and 15 minutes for that, work the time backwards and see what time you need to wake up in the morning, right? Not that complicated. Some of you can sleep till 7 and get what you need to get done in. Some of you need to get up at 5:30 or 5 o'clock to get what you need to get in. If you got kids to get up and get dressed and make lunches because they're young, that's a different world than a retired couple that doesn't have to deal with that, right? So your morning kind of starts out your day, right? Did we do any work yet? Yeah, we did. We checked our email, which is, you can do that 24 hours a day if you want to, but really only need to do it like 2 or 3 times a day. Check your email, check your text while you're having your coffee, multitask. I have a little protein shake here in the morning, and I'll go through my emails and texts and file everything away where it needs to be done, and I'm organized. And then this meeting will come on, I'll check email again, and I'll have another 10 or 15 to deal with, and I'll deal with them, we'll be done. So what time do you wake up in the morning? Start your calendar like this and say, what time do I need to get done? What activities do I want to get accomplished within that time? And then I'm done. And that depends on when you wake up. And then 9 o'clock to 9:30 is really tune in. We're not going to depress you or do anything. You're going to be motivated to go work your day at the end of a nice little talk with us from 9:30 till 9 o'clock to 9:30-ish, right? So try to schedule that into your time. If you don't schedule it in, which I know a lot of you can't, you can watch it throughout the day. And a lot of people do, and they tell me about it. So that's kind of cool. At the end of class, take a break, right? And now this is where the productivity stuff comes in. Take a break. It's okay to take a break, right? Prepare today's call list, chat with your friends, read aloud the scripts you'll be using today 5 times each. Oh, wait a minute. You're tricking me into prospecting. No, I'm not tricking you into doing nothing. I'm assuming you have a goal and you want to make some money. And from Kate Rossi's speech last week, she suggested that we go for 1 appointment a day, and we can accomplish that, or 1 appointment a week, or 1 appointment a day. And we can accomplish that by calling 5 FSBOs, expireds, or absentee owners a day. Now, be honest with me. How long does it take to call 5 FSBOs or 5 expireds or 5 absentee owners, or 2, 2 and 1, or 2, 3 and 0, or whatever? Not that long. You probably got to dial 2 or 3 different times to get them throughout the day. But if you did that, that would be more than most real estate people do in a day, right? And it's between 10 and 12. And the goal, because you have to have a goal when you're making your calls, is to set an appointment to view their property. You don't want to list it. You don't want to do anything else, but you want to see it, right? You want to meet them, because 80% of the people will list with the first person they meet. So all you want to do is go there, make an impression, say hi, tell them how beautiful their house is, and afterwards we'll follow up with a listing presentation. And then the rest of the 10 to 12 time, you would call past clients, 10 a day. And the purpose of that call is to help them identify why now might be a great time to sell their home. I'm gonna give you a sneak peek into the sales meeting agenda for tomorrow. I got this from Michael Mann, who's a real estate mortgage guy that I follow. And this is exactly what Katie was talking about. Federal Chair Jerome Powell made it clear that rate cuts are around the corner. The time has come for policy to adjust. Mortgage rates immediately improved, and we'll expect them to continue improving gradually heading into 2025. This will ease the lock-in effect, unlock more inventory for buyers, and catalyze the housing market in a positive way. You should leverage this news as an opportunity to re-engage with your database. They all have questions. So that, in and of itself, is what this is talking about. Re-engaging with your past clients to find out what questions they have and tell them that things are getting better, rates are coming down, and the locked-in effect will go. Because some people are locked into a huge house they don't need, or they're into a small house, they need a bigger one, but they're afraid to get rid of their sweet old interest rate. So, but you don't do that. If you did 10 calls a day, and I'm assuming you have 200 people in your sphere. If you don't, then you need to meet more people. But 20 days a week, 10 people a day would be 200 people. Now we're presuming that you contact them. You're playing a game with yourself. If you're just making a dial and saying, I hope they don't answer, I hope they don't answer, I hope they don't answer. That's not going to be successful. You want to talk to 10 people. So you might have to call 20, right? And when you do call them, please leave a message. And just say, hey, worst case, they know you called and you're top of mind again, right? But the goal there is to help them identify why now may be a great time to sell their home. Right? We never had that concept before. Why am I calling you? Because I'm just curious. Why do you still live in your house? Blah, 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 blah. Well, what would you like to do if money wasn't an option? I would like to do this. Okay, these are people you know. But the purpose is to have a conversation that centers them around the thought that, ooh, I could sell my house and put $400,000 in my checking account. Oh my God, I could rent for a year or two, would just be totally safe, have a bunch of cash and pay off all my bad debt and still live in a nice place. Cool. They're not thinking that way right now. So it's your job to declutter the thinking in their heads. And then you're done. So you've done now by noon, you've gotten all your morning chores done. You've had a nice, healthy breakfast. You've attended a class. You learned something new, and you've contacted 10 to 15 people. And it's noon. You've done more today than most real estate people will do all week. And this is just Monday. 12 to 1 is lunchtime. Have a light, healthy lunch. Check your emails and texts. You can do it on your phone while you're having lunch, right? Because you got to be responsive. And then from 1 to 3 is reserved for appointments. So that means when somebody calls and says, hey, let's go do this, you say, no, I'm having appointments. The calls, because you made the calls, you made the FSBO expired calls, you made the past client calls. Well, some of those can require listing follow-up with previews for Moxie or previews for a Moxie buyer presentation, or actually a buyer appointment or a listing appointment. So if you scheduled your scheduled time around 1 to 3, it would give you control of your schedule. You ever call the doctor's office and the doctor's office says, the answering service picks it up, first of all, and says, we're closed for lunch from 1 till 3. Please call back after 3. What did they do? They made a priority out of their time and their schedule. Okay. So 1 to 3, reserved for appointments. Now, if you don't have any appointments, then you keep calling until you get appointments, because the goal is to have appointments every day. So that's working time, right? Lead follow-up. 3 to 5, the end of your day, which is the most exciting part of your day, or you're kind of drugged down by now? Kind of drugged down by now, right? So it's the mundane stuff you got to do. Must do today, Adams. I have to do this. I got to schedule my car. I got to do this. Follow up from this morning's prospecting activities. Oh, shit. Mary wants a CMA, or Bob wants to set a buyer appointment to go see 123 Andy Street. So set up your showing time appointments. Send your Moxie presentations out. Do your active lead follow-up. Active lead follow-up. That's people you're currently working now. And the goal with those follow-up calls is to set an appointment. Hey, Bob, I'm talking to you in a week or so. A couple of new houses with the market. You want to get there and see them, right? So that's the goal there. Older lead follow-up. Let them know that due to rate declines, their borrowing power has increased, right? And that's the purpose of that. So you call your buyers that you inquired 6 or 9 months ago, baby, and update them, see where they are, empower them that now's a really good time. Their buying power has gone up 30 to 50,000 bucks, and prices have come down, 10 to 30,000 bucks, right? And at 5 o'clock, take a final look at your emails and texts, because your day is basically over now, right? 5 o'clock, I suggest you pause and reflect on your activities of the day, successes and areas of improvement. Update your calendar with the new activities you scheduled from today. Prepare to go home, prepare a nice meal, spend some family time. And your day's over. That's a pretty nice work day, right? What if you planned your day like that? Real life real estate. If you go to a Tom Ferry event or you go to a Jared James event, what are they going to talk about? Your schedule and what gets done during those days. All right. So I wrote down here, what if you planned your day like this? There it is. But Craig, what about all the other stuff? There is other stuff. I get it. That's a perfect schedule. Do we most have perfect days? No. But do you think you get more done if you planned it in advance? All right. So let's look at some of the other things that you have to plan into your schedule. Right. What else could, should, or must you plan into your day? Scheduling time to complete your onboarding tasks. We are pulling our hair out on the back office because a lot of you don't have your photographs or your bios up to date, which means you're not being promoted on Zillow or Realtor.com or Century21.com or any of these multitudes of websites where leads or other agents are getting leads from, because you're not there. I mean, what are we supposed to do? Come to your house, put a pen in your hand and help you write it? I mean, shit, we've almost done that. You got an AI lead generator on nextlevelview.com, which we're getting into this week. That'll help you write your bio. No excuses not to have that done. Scheduling time to complete your onboarding. I just said that. Scheduling time for social media filming. But Craig, I got to film my social media. Okay, I get it. Schedule it, right? Schedule your tasks, your 5 videos for the week. Get them all done in an hour on Monday or Tuesday, but block the time. Get it all done, schedule it to go out, and you can have that happen. Schedule time to social media post. Write your post out in advance. You can't just sit there and think, well, it's Wednesday. I'm going to work from 11 to 1, and I'm going to think about my social media podcast post or whatever. Bullshit. That shouldn't take any time at all. That should be done in an hour in a day and then be scheduled for the rest of the week. Moxie implementation. If you're not up to date on Moxie, go watch last Thursday's class that Jimmy did, and you'll see all the different modules. And most of these are like 5 or 6 minutes apiece. But if you schedule the time, and we talked about this last week, schedule a half an hour a day into your schedule to do your Moxie implementation. Make sure your things are set up. You got the company projects, and you got a video intro into your Moxie presentations for your buyer and your seller. Just things like that. They're all in there and all in the training thing. This is real work, right? Updating your farm stats, knowing what's going on in your demographic market area, learning market stats, studying the MLS. That's a thing that needs to happen. It needs to be in your calendar, though. If you don't do it, what happens? It's the most embarrassing thing to me when I walk with my neighbors and they know more about what's going on in the neighborhood than I do. Oh, did you see Michelle put her house on the market for $975? And I know the house, like, she's smoking crack. His house is going to sell for $750. And guess what? I was right. Sold for $750. But they knew more. They knew it was on the market before I did. But I knew it closed before they did. And I was right, and they were not. But anyway, I didn't take credit for it because I didn't know, and they did. So updating your farm stats is important. Learning market stats. What's going on? Is market slowing down or market speeding up? Joe Brown does a great job. Joe's Nation in South Tampa, and he does a YouTube video literally every week. And I get a copy of it and I watch it, and he does his South Tampa market stats, and he does the 5 zip codes around South Tampa, and he gives an update of the days on market and this, that, and the other. And it's just over time creating awareness that he's an expert in that marketplace. You need time to build that. Doesn't happen automatically. Previewing property live or virtually. When a new listing comes on the market, you should know what it looks like, especially if it's a market that you know a lot about. And for you, of those who are buying or getting online leads, and you're getting them in a certain zip code, I'd make it a point to study those zip codes, because the online caller calls and expects you to know something about the house or the neighborhood. So learning market stats and studying the MLS is very important. And so is previewing property, whether it's live and virtually, is almost as good. Of course, you can lie in pictures, but at least you'll have some idea that it's, on a pond, or it's not on a pond, or it's a beautiful view, or it's not, right? Getting to know the new home builder inventory. Is that something you should schedule time to do? Who's paying the highest commissions in the marketplace right now? Builders. Who's not affected by the NAR changes? Builders. What is a commission really? An incentive. What do builders need to do now? Incentivize buyers and realtors to sell their property, because they've got a lot of inventory in the ground and they see the market slowing too. So if you know somebody's going this way, and I'm not saying to steer them, I'm saying to make them aware that this builder has got some concession room and we can get you a good deal, right? This is important. It needs to be built into your schedule. And I don't care if you do it on Mondays to tell them how the weekend went, or you do it on Fridays to tell them what's coming up, or you do it on Monday and Friday. But your weekly seller follow-up calls will be your key to success as a listing agent, right? Because your seller is going to refer you to their friends because you stayed in touch, as opposed to, I've got a piece of property listed now with an agent in another area, and the guy just ghosts me. I'm so irritated. And in the meantime, I'm getting followed up by HT Christie's and Sotheby's. Every week I get something from both of them. I heard nothing from my guy, and he's got my listing. It's embarrassing. And it's going to be a hard breakup when I tell him I'm going to list it with somebody else because he's not paying attention. He might be working his ass off in the background, but I don't know it because he's not talking to me about it. And unfortunately, your sellers are thinking the same about you if you're not doing that. Coordinating showings and giving feedback to your co-ops. That's a responsibility you have. If you showed 4 houses to a buyer this week, you really need to call the listing agent and tell them the feedback so they can give it to their seller because it's a professional thing to do, right? Conversely, coordinating showers and giving feedback to sellers. So when Betty Boop shows your listing, you call Betty and say, how did it go, Betty? And she tells you, or she uses Showing Time or whatever technology tool you have now, but you got to share that information with the seller. Digitally is fine as long as I know you're thinking about them, right? Attend relevant realtor events. I mean, you guys could make a career out of going to happy hours and board training classes, but you're never going to make a sale, right? You got to get the first part of your day done, the 10 to 12 part, right? But that's something else that can be fun and can be networking and can be important, but you got to make sure they're relevant to what you're working on, right? You know, if they're opening a new 15-acre lagoon community in Wesley Chapel or San Antonio, wherever it is, if that's something you've got buyers in that area, you might want to go check that out so you can talk about it. And if you're going to talk about it, you might as well do a video while you're there and post on it because that's pretty exciting. You ever seen a 15-acre swimming pool? I saw the one in Waimama. It's 5 acres. This is 3 times that size, and 5 acres is a damn big pool, right? Children's events. You've got to play the game, right? Your kids have soccer, they have volleyball, they have baseball, they've got football, they've got all these things, and they need to go to practices, and you got to build that into your schedule and still do real estate stuff. And then stupid stuff like paying bills, all that has to be done because that's part of your household responsibility. So I guess what I wanted to say today is it's important that you have a schedule, right? Can you see how creating a schedule is critical to your real estate job, right? Your schedule is your job. So when you go look at your calendar and you see all the activities that are on it, right? And mine, the info calendar, which I recommend you have, states what I'm supposed to be at for the company events. Green are my personal times. And then I have to work around that, right? And then if I have time, this is something that they're going to put on Workplace. It's a Tom Ferry event. And if I have time, I'll watch that. So I made it a maybe. And I got a maybe here. But the rest of these things are blocked out in my calendar for things I have to get done. And if you live that way and you take the important stuff, which this is the important stuff right here, the 10 to 12, the business generation is your important stuff. And unfortunately, many of us take these activities here and do those in that time. And then at the end of the day, what's not left? This time is gone. You can't get to it. So said another way, this is the old, what's the best time to eat a frog? First, because it's the least tasteful thing to do all day, right? So get the hard stuff done out of the way early. So you got a nice, energized, fresh morning. You get a little pumped, motivated, and studied on something new in the real estate business. You get ready, you prepare, you practice here, and then you launch. 10 to 12 is your time to generate. Take a lunch break because you worked hard this morning. And then from 1 to 3, have some scheduled time. And if you don't have appointments, then fill in the time with these activities, right? But if you have the appointments, they're more important than some of these activities, not putting your family second in any way, shape, or form. And then 3 to 5 is that's when you're not up. You know, my energy is down by 3 o'clock for sure, but I'm on track pretty hard until 1, right? Maybe 2. And then after that, I'm in slow down mode. So I can do paperwork and I can do that stupid stuff that just has to get done, but it has to get done. And then this is a hard time for all of us, is stopping the day at the end saying, okay, I'm going to make it an end, right? I know some people who are really good at that and some people who are not. I'm one of the ones who's not. I don't have a lot of other responsibilities right now, so I can work till 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night if I want to. I don't typically want to, but sometimes I have to because I got things I got to get done, right? So that's kind of how it works. So for today, that's what I want to talk about, is the importance of setting a schedule or making an appointment, your schedule in a, Jesus Christ, say it again, making your appointments, your schedule, an important part of your job, right? A little conscious thinking up front about what do I need to get done? When can I schedule, get it done? Put it on your calendar, right? And that's it. Yeah, automate your business with the tools that Beggins and Sensual offers. Wait till you see what Puma's going to talk about on Thursday. It's pretty badass, according to what Jimmy told me. Yeah, if you ever haven't 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, I would read it again, or if you haven't done it, read it at least once. Go for the no, you might get a yes. Oh, sure, I'll send it out. I just wrote it last night real quick. But I just want to say, okay, we've been talking about so many tactical things lately, but all that doesn't matter if you don't have a buyer to present to, or you don't have a seller to present to. So how do you get buyers to present to and sellers to present to? You know, it's funny, as we interview new agents to come work for us, you know, they often say, well, how do you give me leads? Like, oh, you're in the wrong interview, dude. We're going to teach you how to get leads. We're not going to give you leads. And if we do give you leads, you're going to pay for them, because there's only 3 ways to get leads. You earn them, you buy them, or you wait for them. Waiting for them is the worst strategy, because totally unpredictable. You don't know anything is ever going to come. And I'm sorry to say it, but open houses fall in that category. You can earn them, which is calling FSBOs, expireds, absentee owners, et cetera, past clients and spheres, and asking specific questions to lead toward specific outcomes. Or 3, you can buy them. You can pay referral fees to companies like Anywhere or Zillow or Realtor.com, and you're going to pay referral fees. And that's just how it works. I don't know of any other ways, because luck has never been a really good strategy. Yeah, the 4 quadrants is super important. I used to do that every night. I've got books and books of things, right? Quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4, urgent and important, urgent, not important, all that stuff. Fantastic. And if you can get that figured out and operate in quadrant 2, which is the ultimate goal, it really works out well. Sure, I'll send it out. I'm glad you guys like it. Lauren said, also decide what time you put your phone on, do not disturb. You have a right to do that. There are very few reasons why a customer needs to call you after 7 o'clock at night. The business world is closed. Banks are closed. Any problem that can be solved is, but we can't solve until the business world opens again the next day. So all you can do is make them feel good. All right. So she can make scheduling easy. Yeah, because it'll plan everything for you and you don't have to do anything. It'll just do it automatically. Good stuff. Cool. All right. Well, good. I'm gonna end on time. It's 9:30. My calendar next is a manager meeting at 11. I've got a mindset meeting, meditation at 12:30 that I do every week. And then at 1 o'clock, I've got an interview. And then I'll plan for sales meeting for tomorrow. So that's what I know was going to happen today. And in the meantime, I will check emails and stuff like that. And by the end of the day, I'll feel like I'm accomplishing a lot of things done. And that's ultimately the goal for me that I have for you, is to feel accomplished at the end of the day. But I'll repeat it one more time. If we spend our time working on buyer broker agreements and seller compensation plans, but we don't have any buyers, we don't have any sellers, what good is that knowledge? So we're going to get back to putting the course in the proper order, right? So it's time to start creating your schedule and getting the business going. So that being said, happy Monday. I'm glad you tuned in today. I look forward to seeing you at sales meeting tomorrow. Thank you much.